I got a phone call today, a FaceTime phone call today from one Justin Brayton. And of course, when Justin Brayton calls, you pick up the phone. But I had a sneaking suspicion that I shouldn't have, because I knew that trouble was coming. And the trouble is that Justin Brayton was calling me to show me that he was going mountain biking in Utah with none other than Steve Matthes and some other guy who also rides Hondas named Ken. They just wanted to brag, say wish you were here, and then rub in the fact that they were riding crazy trails while I was doing different type of bicycling, which was bringing my son here to the Rock Hill BMX track. I got to watch kids ride BMX bikes instead of ride BMX bikes with Brayton and Roczen and Matthes. And by the way, Ken Roczen, the last 3 races have not gone to plan for him in Monster Energy Supercross. He's getting really desperate if he's doing training with Steve Matthes, like really desperate. So anyway, that's the scenario. Courtesy of the folks at Race Tech who bring you the Weege Show, I'm Jason Weigandt. They make gold valves, and as you know, it makes your suspension plusher, better bottoming resistance, and it's all made and engineered in the USA. And don't forget, better traction with gold valves, which is really key because we have seen every type of surface you can imagine at the Supercross races there. We had a dry, dusty race, we had perfect conditions really late at night, and then a near mudder the last time that still somehow led to an amazing Eli Tomac Cooper Webb battle, which you don't normally get on one-line, somewhat muddy racetrack. So what are we gonna have on Wednesday night? Well, it's the same track we had on Sunday, only backwards, and hopefully with less rain. I am here at home. We're going to the BMX track. This is a really cool place, but I still wish I was in Utah. But as I said in the last video, we don't get a lot of press access due to the social distancing. So I can tell you what the riders have said in these private press conference Zoom calls, and that's the insider access that I get. You all know the score coming into this race. It's a lot better for Eli Tomac than it was when we started in Utah. Yes?
Roczen was getting lapped like twice in the last race.
Yeah.
But Tomac tried to fight off Webb, and he did. He was able to, almost, and did. So he was able to win in Monster Energy Supercross.
Good job. Well, now you know what happened in the last race. Excellent. Even got in the title sponsor plug. So yeah, Tomac's rolling right now. He's got 2 wins in a second. Webb's got 2 seconds and a win, and Roczen has gone 3, 5, 10. Now, Roczen said that he now has a asthma problem that he had got a couple of months ago during the off season, but he hasn't really revealed it until now. He hasn't said that this is elevation induced, that the struggles have come lately, but you have to think that's not a coincidence that the elevation races have gotten the better of him. And then you think about the practical coin flip nearly difference between where these 7 races could have been run. It was supposed to be St. Louis. It was supposed to be Glendale. We heard Houston. We heard Orlando. Lo and behold, one of the 2 cities, Salt Lake City and Denver, that has Supercross races at elevation ended up getting the nod. That is unbelievably small odds that these races will be run at 4,600 feet. And that's what happened. And as much as Tomac tried to downplay the advantage, it's pretty obvious in the results chart that it's worked out very well for him and not as well for Roczen. I cannot believe how much his series has flipped. Don't look now, but Webb is closing on Roczen for second in points. Jason Anderson on a roll is closing on Justin Barcia, who was a close 4th in points when this began. So it's all flipped, some of it due to elevation. You can tell who's come into this type of soil and this type of track and has it dialed. And as much as the conditions have changed, we're getting similar results in all the races. So you kind of know after 3 who's good. Who's good, Lane?
Webb tried. He was super good, just couldn't pass Tomac in those few last corners, but he did have a great race, settling for second. He tried as hard as he could, did his best.
Do you know who got 3rd?
And
you know who got 3rd?
No.
Anderson.
Anderson taking a 3rd place, as he was doing the best as he could.
All right, we got to get off the track, dude. We're going to get run over. Yeah, Anderson, he's on the gas. You can now see, here's the guys that have stepped up. Anderson stepped up. Osborne has stepped up. Malcolm Stewart has stepped up. Martin Davalos has stepped up. Those guys have gone forward during the break. Some other guys like Barcia, Aaron Plessinger, they haven't had the results that they wanted. And even though the track conditions are different in each of these rounds, we had a dry race, we had an in-betweener, and we had a near mud race. The results have turned out to be pretty similar of who's fast. Justin Hill, not the same guy that he was before the break. So we're getting a pretty good read on how the break has affected certain people or how the track has affected certain people. Certainly advantage Tomac right now. But let's throw another twist. 250 West is back in the Wednesday night event. It has been so long since they've raced. Somebody on Twitter told me this. We're almost to the exact same amount of time between 250 Supercross West races that we are from the Ironman National at the end of the year to Anaheim 1. We practically had a whole nother off season with 4 months off for those guys. So here's the variable you have to play. Dylan Ferrandis, who I believe is super underrated on his speed and racecraft, he's been the best guy in the West, but he only has a 7-point lead over Justin Cooper. And a few more points back is Austin Forkner. Forkner and Cooper, a little bit younger, a little bit newer. They've got to bank on that they have room to improve, and what has essentially been a second offseason is going to allow them to make gains on Ferrandis, because Ferrandis has been the faster guy. Now, they're usually better starters than him, and maybe they'll have enough this time to take advantage. But Ferrandis is tough to beat. When Forkner got beat straight up late in the race by Ferrandis the last 2 times they raced, a lot of people were theorizing, well, Forkner's coming back from injury. Maybe he's not back at 2019 standards yet. I don't really think it's that. I think that just Ferrandis is really good, and he's hard to beat no matter who you are in the 250 class. So let's see if these dudes can step up and put the challenge to him, because with only 7 points between Cooper and Ferrandis, it is certainly open for him to get it done. But we've seen how quickly with these races coming at you twice a week, the points can flip either in your favor or out of it. Also, we've got a couple spoilers in the mix. Jet Lawrence is back. His brother Hunter will finally make his Supercross debut. You got Christian Craig, you got Cameron McAdoo, Brandon Hartraft, who had a couple podiums earlier. So a lot of other guys that could potentially get in there. Oh, you announcing the BMX racing. Social distancing, we got to wait our turn, so at least we get to announce. So that's what these 250 guys have to bank on. The way the 450 class looked 10 days ago has changed dramatically. It's been advantage Ferrandis going into the break. Can it flip in Cooper or Forkner's direction now that they're back? It's going to be very interesting. As for Roczen, I think he's only got 2 things left. A, the Steve Mathis training, which I don't think is going to help, and crossed fingers. That's all you got. You got to hope that Eli Tomac has some bad luck. The one thing you can bank on, it's hard to have 17 perfect races, and I don't mean perfect as in win 17 out of 17. I mean not have a lot of adversity at all. Only bad races for Tomac this year, arm pump at the opener, an ill-advised pass attempt on Blake Baggett, and he still came back after crashing early to get 4th. He hasn't left much air for anyone else to breathe, literally or apparently figuratively in this case. Is there a bad race for Eli coming? It's getting dangerously close if he can get the points over one whole race where the surrender flag is going to have to go up for everybody else. So they've got to bank on bad luck for him, because with the speed he has right now, he can even overcome some adversity and still get a good finish. So they're going to need something even worse to happen, maybe multiple crashes or mechanical failures or something. But 17 races with good luck is still difficult to pull off. Remember just a couple of years ago at that stadium when Jason Anderson had a huge points lead and broke spokes in the first turn kind of randomly? Things do happen. And at this point, getting late, the Tomac surging, if you're Roczen and Webb, you're gonna have to count on that. All right, enjoy Utah. Wish I was there.
Now let's talk about Sexton and McRath. Sexton had a good lead against McRath. Well, McRath had the lead on the restart of the race, but until he tried to lap the 25, but the lap rider just kind of makes contact and gets pushed down, so that lets the one to the lead, the one of Chase Sexton,